Hi there. So, I want to talk about a concept that you already may have been aware of. I want to talk about gratification. Then I'll talk about immediate gratification. Then I'll talk about delayed gratification. So, what is gratification? So, gratification is the pleasure gotten from the satisfaction of a desire. So, for instance, an individual has a desire. Their desire is to build a house for themselves, so they don't have to go staying in rented apartments. That is their desire. So, they set out, they buy bricks, they buy sand, they buy gravel, and they buy iron rods. And when the house is constructed, the satisfaction that they derive from achieving that dream is gratification. So, from this definition, it becomes quite extraordinarily difficult to say that an individual can much of exist without gratification. Well, they could delay gratification, but they cannot at all live without or exist without gratification. And in the definition, that satisfaction when when a certain desire is met, it means the brain's dopaminergic reward system is activated. The person feels good about themselves, having been actualized and having recorded an accomplishment to their name. And beyond that, the feel good hormones, endorphins, are also secreted. Now, that is gratification. We drink water, we eat food, we have to have a positive self image of ourselves, constructed even by ourselves. We have to have a healthy self esteem. It is that self esteem that helps us to propel ourselves, to put ourselves forth, to gravitate toward our desires, to gravitate toward our goals, to gravitate toward our dreams, and to assert ourselves until we reach actualization. So, I'm going to talk about Abraham Maslow's theory, hierarchy of needs theory, for a moment. So, there is this pyramid, and he puts physiological needs at the bottom. There is safety needs next. There is love and belongingness. There is self-esteem, and there is self-actualization. So, to get to self-actualization, which is at the peak, or at the that would be the highest point of Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory, one needs to have a healthy self image of themselves, which is gratifying. One needs to have a healthy self esteem, which is also gratifying to reach actualization. And the peak of the gratification, or the feel of gratification, or that soothing, enjoyable feeling, would be when an individual is actualized, having previously had a dream, a vision, and pursuing it with consistency, behaviorally, and now reaching the actualization. Now, what is immediate gratification? Immediate gratification, I will explain it this way. When we are born as infants, all right, and at 0 to 2 weeks we are neonates, and then we become infants, and then we grow through childhood, we reach adolescence, and then we get to adulthood. Now, when children are born, they, according to Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytic theory, between 0 to 24 months, they are at the oral stage, and the oral stage actually only flourishes on immediate gratification. So a child is feeling hot, they begin to cry, they need immediate oxygen and ventilation, and that's it. Or they're going to cry. If they are hungry, they don't care if the mother is in a public space, space, she's in church, she's wherever else at work. They expect the mother to bring out, to feed them with breast milk. That's what I mean. So the Sigmund Freud, in his psychoanalytic theory, talks about the structure of the mind. And so the mind, okay, there is three divisions of the structure of the mind. There is the id, the ego, and the superego. Now I'm only going to talk about the id, which is directly or closely related to gratification. The id works with immediate gratification, and it is closely linked with the oral stage of psychosocial development, according to Sigmund Freud. So we are born, and when we are born, we are selfish, we are self-centered, because all the child seeks is protection. The child seeks feeding. The child seeks to satisfy their thirst. All right, because the cerebral hemisphere, the prefrontal cortex, is still very much, I would say, underdeveloped. There is not much learning that has taken place. It is with maturation, physical growth and maturation, and behavioral maturation, that we learn to grow away from selfishness, from self-centeredness, and begin to learn empathy, and begin to be selfless. So like I said earlier, the id works strictly or entirely with immediate gratification. So there are children in adult bodies, and by that I mean there are adults. There is the probability that there are adults that are still immature and self-centered, and those ones may have been fixated. They may have had some sort of crisis between the id and the ego. Now the ego works with the reality principle. Okay, so you want to eat, but you don't have money. So the reality is, or you don't have food, you can't cook food that you don't have, and you can't possibly go and steal it, because if you steal it, you may be caught. So reality. So Sigmund Freud says in his psychoanalytic theory that unresolved crises between the id, which works with immediate gratification, and the ego, which works with reality principle at earlier developmental stages, is going to much later on in life, in the life of the same individual that experienced those crises, the person is going to develop mental illnesses. So you see, there is the probability, and it's quite high, or perhaps even possibility, that an individual who had those crises and they are unresolved could be grown and mature physically by growth, or biologically, but behaviorally or mentally they are immature. So now I'm going to talk about delayed gratification. All right. So the point of moving from a dream to, or perhaps a vision, to sketching it, writing it down, and then following it through onto actualization actually deals a lot with delayed gratification. The truth is, we cannot want something today and get it today always, because sometimes we need to go, it takes quite some time between what we want and when we want it, to for us to get to when or where we will get it. So I'm going to make an adaptation. All right. So there is the biblical story about Joseph. He could interpret dreams. He had a dream and he told his father and his siblings about it, and they could discern that he was going to rule over them. So they sold him into slavery. He went to Egypt. He got to Potiphar's house. He was thrown in the dungeon when Potiphar's wife brought an allegation that he had tried to rape her. I'm just trying to talk about delayed gratification. Why didn't God just birth Joseph, and the moment he was born and grew up, why didn't he just become whatever he wanted him to become? It was necessary for Joseph to learn. So learning takes time, and mastery also takes time. When the Israelites were in captivity in Egypt, God recruited Moses, sent him to Egypt. There was bargaining between Moses and Pharaoh until Pharaoh grudgingly, he didn't like it, but he let them go. And the moment they left, he realized that he had made a mistake, because in the first place he didn't like to let the Israelites go. So he pursued them, and the Israelites, even though they crossed over on dry land, and I'm talking about crossing over through the Red Sea, but when the Egyptians got there, they all drowned and died. And it took the Israelites 40 years of preparation. That's 40 years of delayed gratification. Now, if you look at your life, most of the things that you have actualized, it took time before you could actualize them. And that time is not meaningless. It's quite very meaningful because of learning. Because of learning. It's not just getting a certain thing that is important. Most times when you get that certain thing, for instance, you want to buy a car. When you buy a car, you need to maintain the car. So it's important when you buy to read the manual, production manual, so that you know how to manage it and to maintain it. So delayed gratification is a good thing, and we should learn to practice it because we can never outgrow learning. So there you go. Gratification, immediate gratification, delayed gratification. I hope you found this quite very useful. And if you did, it's great. Congratulations to you. Bye now.